Collins & Co. invite you to join us for our regular lunchtime not-for-profit seminars and workshops. In these sessions, guest speakers deliver expert knowledge on topics specifically catered for the not-for-profit sector. Sessions are held at Collins & Co. from 12 till 2 and lunch is provided. Contact Collins & Co. to find out the next seminar topic and to register.
Hi, my name's Zoe Freeman. I'm from the Fathom Line. Today we're going to look at where digital and brand collide, in other words, great digital brand execution. We're going to look at that through the guise of two great brands, World Vision and Burberry, and see how they do it best. Thanks for coming, everyone. So yeah, I'm a digital strategist, I guess, but I operate in this space where digital marketing and brand collide. So when Michael and I were talking about possible themes for today, we thought that was a really good place to work in that you knew organisations and businesses often do know their brand or they don't, and they have these digital channels. Bridging that gap from one end to the other is where things can get lost. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we start, does anyone have any sort of burning issues? Is there a question that you really want to get answered today? Any real core driver that got you here today that anyone would like to share? I like Q&As up front. That's okay. Now, look, questions along the way, please. It's a good number. I'm here to give you what you need out of this, so please feel free to interject. I'm trying to make this as interactive as possible, so yeah, feel free to have a say.
I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one.
Okay, I'm going to leave that there. There's more video. I'm happy to circulate the slides, by the way, if you want more of these afterwards. So it was interesting what Michael and I were talking about today is that as NFPs, you do tend to have a really good hold on why you exist and why you go about you do. I've worked primarily with businesses and commercial businesses, and they're really bad at it. So I thought we'd start with that. So what I'd like you to do, and if you're with your colleagues, by all means work together. Piece of paper, if you could send those around. A couple of minutes. No right answers. Sharing is optional. I don't believe in forced sharing. So grab a texter, maybe avoid the pale coloured ones. Yeah, so 10 words or less, thereabouts. Why does your organisation exist? Okay. Does anyone want to share why the organisation exists? Does anyone feel that was really easy and just could scream from the rooftops instantly? How'd you go?
I'll contribute. So I'm on the board of an organisation called the Portsea Camp, which runs camps for children in need, come from disadvantaged backgrounds and whatnot, and we're really trying to eliminate that stigma of separating them from community. So inclusiveness is a big word in our environment there, community, to inspire these children to feel a part of society and feel that they can contribute in their own right, to provide respite to families, give opportunities, well-being and so forth. So.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah.
Ours is, I think, pretty simple. It's we are and do what the community needs. And that's our, I guess, a driving statement that everything kind of comes back to. So that changes over time as communities change and as the needs change.
Did you relate to that, the circle of truth?
I've seen
Yeah,
that
but
before and watched lots of his leadership videos, and
yeah.
He really resonates with me. I think he's got a great way of breaking down information.
Yeah, and you said when we spoke, if you don't mind sharing, that you guys do a lot of things, but if you get back to the why, then it doesn't really matter what outputs they are if it's you've got a central point. Yeah, so that's why I thought of you when we talked about that. Okay, so we're not going to go into great detail on brand strategy, but there's just one more little brand activity I wouldn't mind doing with you. When people experience your brand, how does it make them feel? Now, this is emotional benefits, I guess, is what we do. We talk to corporates about this. I've got some cheat sheets. These are emotion wheels. Might just help you with a few words. You don't have to use words on here. Just on the other side of your paper, flip it over. 3 words, emotive words. They give you a feeling of how. We don't have quite else. There's some sharing maybe. What does it make you feel when someone interacts with your brand? Is everyone clear on? Okay, lots of good discussion. That one seems to have resonated a bit better than the previous one. Does anyone want to share their sort of top 3? How did our hosts go? Collins and Co. To get it.
All right. Just to go back one for when you said the why, I just said for us, it's really to help our clients achieve their goals. Mm-hmm. That's probably the end point that we're trying to do. There's quite a few things on there. I guess part of it would be that hopefully our clients and interactors feel trusting, confident, satisfied. Hopefully we're providing with the advice so they can achieve their goals. Important, that they're important to us. I guess proud, but we appreciate what they're trying to do, and hopefully we can help them on that journey towards their goals. There's probably a few other words in there that we could use, but I guess probably in general terms that would be it.
Okay. Anyone else want to share a couple?
Ours
Go ahead.
Ours is probably centered around the powerful or empowerment
Yeah.
sort of thing. So worthwhile, valued, appreciated, confident.
Yeah, fantastic.
I work for a small nonprofit that supports people with HIV. So the 3 words that we want people to feel when they see our brand is trustworthy, so that we have our best interests in mind, and they can trust anything the advice that we give or anything the support that we offer. We want people to feel valued when they come into our offices, that we're not just looking at their status, we're looking at them as a person. We want them to feel welcome as well. So regardless of gender, sexuality, anything like that, you're welcome in this place and you can find support in our place.
Fantastic. Okay. Hang on to that. Like I say, I have worked with NFPs, but I've primarily worked with businesses. And I just want to show you a quick clip that I think sums up why can be hard to tell why a non-NFP does exist. Let's see this one.
Happen will revolutionize location-based mobile news aggregation as you know it.
We're making the world a better place through Paxos algorithms for consensus protocols.
And we're making the world a better place through software-defined data centers for cloud computing.
A better place through canonical data models to communicate between endpoints.
A better place through scalable, fault-tolerant distributed databases with ACID transactions.
And we are truly local mobile social.
And we're completely so-mo-low.
And we're molo-so. We're low-mo-so, bro.
We were so-low-mo, but now we're mo-low-so. No, mo-so-low. No.
Okay, so that's from a show called Silicon Valley, which is a satire, and I just love that idea that you're trying to change the world, make the world a better place through some sort of algorithm. What I love about NFPs, of course, is you guys actually are trying to make the world a better place. Today we're going to look at 2 brands, an NFP and a non-NFP, those being Burberry and World Vision. We're going to run those same exercises just quickly, but as a group for both those brands. So, and we're going to, and then Burberry, and so both these brands have had their problems in the past. This is a photo taken in 2002, and it was said never before has a single photo done such bad damage to a brand. This is Daniela Westbrook. She used to be on EastEnders. She was known for it. Very, very substantial cocaine habit. So very much a Z-grade celebrity. And what happened with Burberry is it went from a luxury brand to went from chic to chav, and it has gone back to chic. So around 2002 when that photo was taken, was at the start of this graph, this is their share price. They have been able to rebuild their brand by heavily investing in it with the right sort of people, the Beckhams being one of those. And a creative director who's done a lot of great work. So brands have peaks and fluxes. They can have problems, and their perception is obviously inherently tied to their value in the commercial world. World Vision, Michael, defer to you on this as an expert in the field. Do you want to talk a bit about?
I think the thing with World Vision is they made a very conscious decision to change the way they were representing themselves. So they've moved from this idea of actually being a caring organisation, and their whole premise being around caring for people and communities, to actually now being much more focused on capacity building and changing the nature of people's lives through building capacity in those communities. And I did see something a while ago that went out to all of their marketing teams, that the language behind the brand was to completely change as well. So everything that was being written and communicated now came through a lens of what we would call a hero organisation, about setting a benchmark of where things should be, about ruling that space around what these types of organisations should be doing. And I think the strength in what they've been able to do is recently when they got into trouble in the Middle East around one of their managers supposedly funneling money to Hamas, the strength of the organisation was on display when Tim Costello came out and said, there is nothing to see here until the investigation's done, and essentially the media went quiet on it. Any other organisation probably would have been put through the coals on that. And we've seen that. We saw it with Shane Warne with no brand credibility, gone. Urala, fairly strong brand credibility, have some major issues, they're still here. Okay, so I think that strength behind the brand and the way they continually reinforce their messaging and what they stand for and who they are plays out in times of crisis for them. So.
It's a commodity that can get spent, I guess.
Totally. Yeah. There's a concept called a brand bank, which we use, which kind of falls into that space of what do you have in the deposits versus what you have in withdrawals. Yeah.
Oh. Now my videos work.
That's always the way.
Okay.
The faster we move forward, it becomes even more critical to look back and never forget who we are and never forget where we came from and what made this brand such a great global luxury brand today. I run the company with Christopher Bailey, our Chief Creative Officer. We had a vision, and the vision was to be the first company who was fully digital end-to-end. We are partnering with Salesforce to now take that vision and build this social enterprise. The experience would be that a customer would have total access to Burberry across any device, anywhere, and they would get exactly the same feeling of the brand, feeling of the culture, regardless of where, when, how they were accessing the brand. Everyone now can come into Burberry World and understand the journey and mission that Burberry's on. And to any CEO who's skeptical at all, you have to. You have to create a social enterprise today. You have to be totally connected with everyone who touches your brand. If you don't do that, I don't know what your business model is in 5 years.
Don't you wish you could put videos together like that for your brand? I'm sure they spent quite a bit of money on that one.
For the past 60 years, we've been partnering with people like you to help children and communities break free from poverty. But have you ever wondered how we use your donations to actually do that? We combine gifts from sponsors to benefit all children in a community, then leverage other gifts, products, and grants so we can do even more. When we begin working in a community, we start by following Jesus' example of coming alongside and listening. We sit down with children, families, churches, and community leaders. We listen to their unique challenges and needs. Do they need clean water, better schools, a dependable supply of food, basic healthcare, local jobs? What opportunities do they see? Next, we work with them to develop a 5-year action plan that will address the root causes of their challenges and bring fullness of life for all children. Once the plan is drafted, we help them put it into action. We work with their existing leaders and empower new ones, bringing the community together to address the needs they've identified. And if something in the action plan isn't quite working as well as it should, we go back and change it so it does. But it doesn't stop there. We don't just help a community get the things they need, like healthcare, education, clean water, nutritious food, and economic opportunity. We also train them so they know how to best care for and grow these new resources so they will continue to have them for years to come. When the community has grown healthier, safer, and more self-sustaining, then we transition out and move on to the next community in need. By now, the community is a better place for children to live and grow, and they're more equipped to handle emergencies and can even turn around and help their neighbors. From beginning to end, this transformation is made possible because of people like you, who are passionate about helping children and communities reach their God-given potential to break free from poverty.
Okay, so let's do a bit of group work. We're all practiced at the whys and the emotional. This one here. Okay, we've got Burberry and World Vision. Why? And the feel. Okay. Why does Burberry exist? Does anyone want to take a guess? We don't. I don't know the answer, but like I say, commercial businesses, they tend to keep this stuff a little bit, the why, a bit more behind closed doors because it can seem insincere at best. But does anyone want to have a guess? Why does Burberry exist? Cynical views welcome.
Promote a lifestyle.
Yeah. It's about lifestyle. We saw a shareholder graph, make money for shareholders. Yeah.
So was their CEO using the term social enterprise?
Okay. So social enterprise in this context this is actually a promotional video for Salesforce. They mean a social media enterprise. So it's sorry if that caused confusion with you guys. I meant to make a point. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. So she's meaning that a social media driven an ecosystem around the brand that allow people to interact with that brand. Why does World Vision exist?
Support people in need.
Yeah, I was actually I was trying to get back to. It was actually the last slide on the video was last screen, building a better world for children. I mean, is that a really good reason to exist as an organisation? And you know they've stuck it with the logo. So. Now, I guarantee that Burberry has a statement that is a little bit more in that vein. But like I say, in the commercial side, sharing that why can seem insincere. Simon Sinek spoke about why Apple exists because it believes in thinking differently. It doesn't believe it's going to make the world a better place, thankfully. Do we want to have some words and use your wheels again? What is Burberry? If you walked into the Burberry store in London, how's that going to make you feel? Imagine you've got money to spend.
I think it'd sit in the powerful wheelhouse, like confident, valuable, respected, those sorts of things. Like that's, I think that's their intention anyway.
Yeah, respected. Yeah. Any others? Does anyone think that this?
I think there's a sense of relevance that people get from those sort of labels, trying to fit into some kind of lifestyle. Being seen in those labels helps you kind of connect in and look like you belong.
So is it prestige?
Yeah, it probably is prestige.
Yeah. So a sense of belonging. Maybe. You don't have to use just the words on the wheels. They're just a bit. So what about World Vision? If you're a donor and a sponsor or a volunteer of World Vision or a recipient of their services, how does that make you feel?
You're part of something bigger.
Pardon, sorry?
You're part of something bigger.
Yeah, so inclusive,
or even just making a difference.
Making a difference?
Yeah.
Impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah, impactful.
Empowered?
Yep. I think a lot of NFPs, that's about empowering people to change their lives in some way.
Connected to the world.
Any others?
Obviously, as a recipient with World Vision, that would be quite a different set of emotions, but I think then you'd be feeling thankful, grateful, maybe more safer, hopeful, those sorts of things.
Okay, I'm going to leave that up there and we're going to start pulling apart these two brands and how they execute those brands through their many digital available channels. No more videos. Oh, God. Okay, so this is a digital ecosystem. I've got this as I can send it to you electronically as well. who's feeling that they're completely on top of their digital marketing and there's no new channels they want to look at in the next 12 months? It's an increasingly fragmented world and it's not going to stop. This is just some of the things that come into play for organisations large and small. Some of these are behind the scenes, not all of them are of course public facing, but they all will have some impact on how a brand is perceived and what those digital touch points are every day. So getting from this lovely simple statement on why you exist and how you feel through all these channels is hard work. I'm not saying it's not. That's why we thought we'd look at these two brands, because they are, leaders in their fields for how they do this, and we're going to try and reverse engineer how they make that work. So I was going to do an activity, but I don't think we quite have time. But so let's look at Burberry in more detail. So obviously the first piece was that video. How fabulous was that video? The first time I saw that, I nearly cried. It's just beautiful. And I use it a lot, and I use it with clients because it was actually the inspiration for the topic today, because she's so passionate about every touch of the brand feeling the same. So, Twitter's a really low-res medium, but she's got this vision that, oh well, within the limitations of that medium, I still want people to feel the same way about the brand. So, an EDM. Who's sending EDMs to databases at the moment? Yeah? Okay. Really common way, great way, owned asset, you own your lists, you lease your social media audiences. But email was not designed for marketing. Email was designed for academics to correspond with one another, and the technology has not really come that far in the last 20 years. So it's working within the limitations of EDMs is a challenge. So a brand like Burberry would be working their digital agencies very hard to get the most high-end experience out of what is really a very low-res and old-school medium. And so shortcuts to that is photography. Does anyone else want to, feel free to sort of tell me what you think of these? This is actually a design of an EDM, not a real EDM, but it's the best I can find. So, what are some of the words that make you feel? How does this piece of communications, is it on brand?
It's luxurious, it looks fabulous, it's well shot.
Yep.
Lighting's great, looks like something that you want.
So it's, it's prestige, it's powerful, it is those things that Burberry's setting out to do. Now Facebook, obviously, you start to get some limitations here really. You've got to have your logo, it's got to be square, you're not allowed to change the name of the colour at the font of the name of your page, so you can see that Burberry's not in their logo, it's in blue, it's in Facebook blue. But here's just a couple of Facebook posts. They heavily rely on video because they can. Look, here's a Facebook post. It's beautifully written. I love this. Mixing notes of glazed pomegranate and lemon over crisp apple, jasmine and wisteria. I love this. The scent carries the sparkling energy of a London garden, awakening to the first light of day. And one of the things that is quintessentially Burberry is that it is a UK brand. So they've gone, okay, well, one of our things is we are a UK brand, so of course it's a London garden. It's not a Sydney garden. So it's short. They've got their own URL shortener, you'll notice on the end, so that the URL is on brand. It's quite hard to URLs are messy, ugly. They've done their best to make that as neat and beautiful and Burberry as possible. Here's another video. Shop the look. It's really clear on what they want you to do at the end of that post. Again, URL shortener, same sort of styling of video.
So how does it benefit them by shortening the URL? Because I wouldn't, if I was trying to remember their URL, I wouldn't even come close to that?
What that does in that context, and this is a really technical Facebook thing, is it allows them to have a video but also have a URL. So you know how you put a URL to Facebook, it'll send you to the web page. So it's a way of sort of doubling up on the calls to action. So you're going to view the video in situ, and then but then there's a call to action to take you to their objective, which is go and buy online. Likewise with a series of photos from a runway show, using the Facebook medium, but making it clear that what they want you to do. Their objective is to sell these clothes, so shop the show. But again, really nice, concise piece of writing. When you move into Twitter, what they are not doing, which is fantastic, and I know it is tempting, but they are not just pushing out the same stuff on Facebook and Twitter. It's a completely different messaging. There is, I couldn't see any overlap in what they were talking about. I know from myself, my business, I definitely push stuff out through multiple social networks at once. So I know that when we're time poor and budget poor, but in a perfect world, what they're doing here is they're really working in the medium, looking at the end of medium and working backwards and how to communicate their brand best in that medium. So again, nice strong call to action. So there's those common characteristics that shop the look, making it clear on what they want people to do.
People on Twitter to Facebook.
It's a different context, and it would almost certainly be they might be overlap, but they would be, you can't rely on it being the same people. And if it is the same people, then they're basically just saying if you weren't to create a separate strategy for each or a separate execution strategy, you just end up saying the same thing in different channels. So it's like, well, it's lazy, unfortunately. It's easy, but it's lazy. Another one, no call to action on this, because really they're just cashing in on a celebrity that has worn used their product. And even when they do use hashtags, that's 3 tweets. It took me 4 tweets to find a hashtag. Hashtags are really ugly as well. This one, they obviously, I would assume they're a sponsor of Cows Week. They could have crammed this tweet with, another half a dozen hashtags sailing, trying to get picked up. They've gone back to brand. They know who they are. They've got the association with this event. They've created their own sub-brand via hashtag Burberry Summertime, and they're being associated with a luxury sport and a luxury event, so that's back to brand as well.
Interestingly, the one before that, I noticed the Nike tick.
Yeah, isn't that?
Or anything else.
Yeah, it is funny, but Instagram. Who's using Instagram? Yeah, a bit. Yeah. When you look at the collective feed, I've screenshotted this from desktop, but again, there's a pretty consistent look and feel. It's funny, it's not super consistent though, is it, when you look at it like this? But when you get down to how they actually treat each piece of comms, again, really minimal use of hashtagging. As you see these people, they've put 50,000 hashtags on an Instagram post. Is anyone really reading them? Is it really getting you meaningful followers? I'm not an Instagram expert, but as a user, I find that is distracting from the objective. And despite the medium that you cannot link through an organic Instagram piece to a URL of your choosing, they've still made it clear on how to get to their call of action. Find the full link in bio. That's the only kind of link you can have in that space. This is not a digital example, but I have a friend who works with NFPs and in NFPs, and they had a gala ball of which Burberry was a sponsor, and they donated a trench and a scarf. And do you think that the trench and the scarf was couriered to them the day before the event? No. Burberry sent people from Burberry to the event to set up the trench and the scarf and the signage at the event, and no one else was allowed to do that. I think that's interesting. They are ensuring that every touch of their brand, every experience of their brand, even if it is at a gala ball for an organisation that they're sponsoring, they're going to make sure that that's on brand for them. Now, obviously, they are a luxury brand. Their brand is everything. It's tied to their share price. But as an extreme example, I think there's some interesting things in there. Now, just about to move on to World Vision, I'd like to make the point, I'm not saying that comparing Burberry to World Vision, it's completely different organisations. But there is a lot you can learn from those that are doing it in the commercial world.
Zoe, can I ask a question?
Sure, please do.
Talking about one hashtag, no hashtags, what have you, do you have to have a certain number of followers for that to actually be a realistic position to take as a brand?
Look, I think it's back to your point earlier. If you've got the brand commodity that you've got that that cachet, then I think yes, you can do less. You can afford to not mention it. I mean, there's a fantastic advertisement for McDonald's recently on St Kilda Road, which was just a close up of the chips, the fries, and the little red scoop of the box. There was no logo, no URL, no hashtag, nothing. Now, the takeaway shop down the road can't afford to do that. They don't have that brand recognition to be able to leave off the calls to action and the other communication cues. So yes, good point, but I think there's definitely a less is more approach.
Typically, from a marketing perspective, you want to be really targeted and understand who it is you're trying to communicate with. So, there's a concept I've seen around the lighthouse beam where as long as you know where you fit inside that beam or what that beam looks like for you, it doesn't matter who's outside of it because you're not trying to attract them.
Yep.
So I wonder if it has the same kind of resonance with things like hashtags and what have you. That, you know who you're talking to, they'll get it. It doesn't matter about anyone outside of your target audience.
Yeah.
Because something we challenge with often is that use of which platform, how do we use it, is it actually worth using, I'm constantly trying to answer that question.
Yeah, and it's not something that's unique to small or large businesses or small or large NFPs. It's getting your channel mix right, and when there's a new one to seemingly add every other week is a challenge across the board. So let's look at World Vision for a bit. This is a World Vision EDM from the UK. Nice use of fonts, using imagery as best they can to overcome what is a very low res medium. Using celebrity endorsement to give it a face and give it a bit more personality. EDMs are always square and boxy. As if you know how to code, there's a reason for that, unfortunately. But getting kind of vectors and shapes through it that break that is quite difficult for your designers and in the templates you might choose. Using video, now obviously you can't play video here, but you can always say, here's, trick people, looks like a video, and then take them out to YouTube. So you just put a little play picture over the top of your video on EDMs is a lovely approach. And even the calls to action, even the way they've treated the footer. Any thoughts on this one? Onto Facebook. So a couple of Facebook posts. Small Vision Australia, not global. I'll go through them and we might talk about those. What do people think of that? Do you think that's on brand?
Yeah, I think the images.
You
There's a
think
lot
the
of
images?
text on their Facebook posts.
Do you think that's on brand? Oh, there's a video. Let's look at that one.
It's showing what they can do for, the people that they're actually helping in the community, that are actually doing something with the money.
I think there's I think this one's very strong imagery. I think there's always a temptation in social media to sort of go to a newsletter sort of genre. And that's great if you're talking to your community, but if you're trying to reach outside of that community, I wonder if that's the best strategy. I think as someone, if I saw this post and I wasn't a part of the community, that's going to get my attention much more than something that's a bit more of a happy snap. This seems like a really strong image. But I do agree, I think there is possibly too much text going on because I'm not really sure why I'm reading this and I'm not really sure why the organisation exists at a glance.
And it's Facebook.
Yeah.
So you don't go to read.
Yeah.
You really are looking for something captured pretty succinctly, I think. Well,
Yeah. And it also, again, within the limitations of that platform, you write too much, you get to see more. So suddenly your call to action is buried, and then it's like, oh, I've moved on. Yeah. Funnily enough, in Twitter, within the limitations of Lex copy, a couple of Twitter examples. So, and you know, they are a religious organisation to use, this is very on brand to quote Bible verse. I think that's great. Oh, sorry, wrong way. In just 4 days, over 20,000 people on the move have arrived at the newly opened Umigo refugee settlement in Uganda. Gertrude's family once faced poverty and drought in Malawi. Now, with help from World Vision, she's going to school. Isn't that interesting that in a different medium, their brand, that fact of why they exist and the feeling of the brand is actually stronger because they've been forced to say less in the space. And Instagram, if you look at their Instagram as a collective, as a whole, which is what you do when you're deciding whether to follow someone or not generally, is really cohesive. It feels really strong. I actually think this looks more cohesive as an Instagram first impression than Burberry's. But when it breaks down to each individual piece and they've got no character cap on their description,
back to what they do on Facebook.
They've gone back.
Billboards.
They've gone back to. They can't resist that temptation to tell the whole story and not enough of the story to get people to do what they want them to do, which is read more, find out more, become part of the community.
How else would they achieve that just through imagery though? You know, especially like that happy photo. How is that going to tug at heartstrings, you know, for people to say, oh, we need to do more? You know what I mean? If that was just that image of, you know, couple.
If this was just the image, and so I wouldn't advocate no copy, but I think the way that Burberry did it, which is find out more about our organisation through the only means we've got to make call to action Instagram, which is a link in the bio. So what are you trying to get people to do on the back of this piece of communication, this micro piece of communication? What are the limitations within the medium and how can you get them there as quickly as possible?
And if the call to action is to donate, there is no call.
No.
It's just there's no call. It's just a statement.
I would say donate is a very strong call to action though.
But they haven't
I'm saying if their call to action from this should be that you come and donate at the site, but there's actually no call to action in the...
Burberry did it all the way through theirs. There was every single thing there was a call to action. World Vision hasn't done it in any of the examples you showed us.
Or if they have, it's so far down that it's been missed out.
Yeah.
I would argue though, is every post have to have a call to action though?
No, and you did see that there were Burberry posts as well that didn't have that. They just went, hey, we're just going to, the celebrity has endorsed us, let's just own that and leave that be. But I think that what every post should do, and I've got a bit more on this later, is have an objective.
Absolutely.
And
I have the copy for this one, so I don't know what the copy says in relation to that photo, but you know, is it just telling a story? Like, it's
a case study, you know, it is telling the story, So, but is it's telling the whole story? So, in a medium which is not a reading medium, it's a visual medium,
But then you've got the tension of the UDMs being old technology, and so how do people sort of access the information or type information on a mobile phone? So, picture plus paragraph. Actually plays that role of what a newsletter was, electronic newsletter was 15 years ago.
It does. But exactly. So how are we going for time? Just after 1. Okay, cool. I've only got a couple more slides, so we can open up to some questions at the end. Just a little test, and this might be something you could even work into a little template for your marketing when you do your marketing. Like I say, happy to circulate slides. So what is the objective of this piece of communication? What is you trying to do? Does it meet that objective? Is it going to get a donation? Is it going to get people to your next event? Is it going to get volunteers for your next drive? Is it on brand? And if you can just have your basic brand stuff, a one-pager above your desk, you can go back to that. If you're outsourcing this stuff or using volunteers, make sure they know what that brand is as well. And does it communicate our brand purpose? I mean, this all seems really obvious when you look at these best case examples, but you can see that World Vision is not getting it right 100% of the time, and inarguably in some ways Burberry as well. So finally, I guess just a few tips to take away as well. Really know who you are and why you exist. I think generally NFPs, you do know why you are, who you are and why you exist, and that's great, but making sure that that's articulated and communicated within the organisation and anyone touching your marketing and your brand. Keep the ultimate objective in mind, and that everything has to be on brand. Resist the temptation to get something out because it's there, it's quick, it's easy, and make sure, is it really going to do us our best purpose? Does anyone have any questions?
I'm curious about whose organisations actually have a brand statement that defines what the brand of the organisation is, that is not the mission statement.
You don't have one? No?
A little bit, but it kind of changes over time, and it's always hard to then have a bit of consistency through when you do have changes and kind of everything trickles down. So
Yeah.
for me, the questions about sort of strategies, when you talk about sort of posting things and call to actions, are there any kind of frameworks or strategies to look at how you post things and regularity of putting out messages for different elements of your different programs within a service?
So is your question around frequency?
Yeah. And then looking at, if you run 12 different programs that all fall under your brand, how do you best? Because that's why we get lost in. We end up often sort of focusing on one thing too much.
One program,
and then one gets forgotten, and it's kind of should you look at it as an even?
So if you were a business, they would be products or services instead, and you would be focusing on the products and services that were more likely to make more money, basically your best product lines. So that being said, you don't want to create a situation where the lesser lines never go out of existence because you haven't given them a fair go in the marketing mix. So it's something that's not unique to NFPs. I would encourage you to, do you have a marketing calendar? Do you sort of? It's forward planning. So things like having like the test for each piece that goes out, but perhaps building in a matrix of looking at how often you think you should be communicating in each channel. Are the different programs getting enough weight? How does that tie into annual events, sort of seasonality, be it Christmas, Easter, be it weather changing, Valentine's Day, anything you can sort of hook into that's going to resonate, and then of course anything a bit more tactical. So something that happens in the news, perhaps you could hook into that. So, but without mapping out, I mean, Burberry would not be sitting there at their computer on a Wednesday morning going, what are we going to put on Facebook today? And they will have every single post, every single piece mapped out possibly months in advance. So the planning for this stuff, agility is key to adapt and test and learn. But you could definitely map out a long way ahead in the future based on what's going on in the business.
Like one thing I've done before is sort of created an objective for each post, maybe like 3 or 4 posts. One being like a branding post that's not really a call to action, but just generally getting people to feel something towards your brand. Then like one like selling a product, might be training or service, and then another getting people to think about something a bit thought-provoking, like it might be informational news. And I've created a calendar for a whole month and sort of spaced them out at different times. But I found it really hard to sort of stick to that, and I feel like I'm often reacting to the news
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit and getting a bit stuck in the what are we going to do today kind of thing, and not really looking at the calendar, which might just have one line like informative post or something. So I don't know if anyone else has that issue or feels like they're a bit in that reaction space, how to get better at planning.
Do you have someone you can workshop it with? So you could have locked and loaded like quite a lot of informative posts to go. If it's not, I mean, I may see from your organisation that there are definitely plenty of newsworthy things that you could hook into. But
yeah, almost too much. I get a bit stuck in the news because family violence prevention is huge in the news, but there's also a lot of it's pretty heavy content as well. You don't want to be continually pushing that sad news. So.
Just a quick question, is the problem with actually scheduling the posts and having them always come out at a certain time, or is it actually just keeping to it when there's new stuff coming out?
Yeah, it's a bit of everything. I think it's often being prepared.
If it's a scheduling thing, there's actually, if you go and get Sprout Social, if you look that up in Google, it's actually a scheduling software. Design, you can add administrators and stuff to run, and that way you're at least able to schedule your stuff at a certain time every time, and that way you're not out by a couple of minutes. At least you're always at 4 p.m. if you're going to do it at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
But Michael, are you having trouble finding the time, or are you having trouble finding enough to keep in the pipeline to push out?
Yeah, a bit of time, but also just getting stuck a bit too much in reacting to the news of the day. And if I have something planned, like a brand post, that's going to clash with something big that's happened in the news, or
It doesn't come back to the criteria of your posts. So bottom level will be brand awareness.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the right thing, if you're watching your analytics on your website, that you're driving traffic that way. So it's having those conversion goals against each category of post, I think, is the answer to the strategy. And we've started using Sprout.
I think what we found is that if you schedule things in advance,
People tend to be coming to your post because they know it's coming out at a certain time.
but also when things come in the media and you want to react to them, you can quickly put it up at that moment, and it doesn't matter because your posts are already scheduled.
They know that your other post is going to come out at that time anyway, so it's just an extra bit of information. The people that do see it, that's great. That's more traffic going to your website.
But you don't get sidetracked.
I've also found in terms of responding to current themes, we've had a little bit of success waiting for 2 days and letting whatever the issue is almost kind of people bubbles in, and people often respond better after a couple of days to an incident or something that's happened.
Because there's a chance for insight,
Yeah,
possibly, or review,
or
summary.
More people are aware of it. So we try and sort of wait for 3 days generally when something happens. So we'll then and I have to be careful because I want to get on and be angry and but it also gives me a chance to take a step back.
Well, you have to remember too, at those points there's more noise going on, so you're competing for the airtime, whereas waiting a few days. Sorry.
Just to kind of add to that as well, we often also have to be quite reactive depending what's in the news and whatnot, and it just kind of comes back to, again, what is your purpose of existing? So, we don't have to respond to everything. I think, waiting a couple days, letting things settle down, see who else responds to it as well. There's other organizations that we work closely with, and sometimes we'll let them take the lead and, just kind of piggyback on top of that, kind of let them do the legwork, and then, we can share something on top of that. But I think it just, you don't have to respond to everything, and always go back to why you exist. In HIV, for example, there's a lot of stuff going on globally, but we always have to remember that our primary focus is what's going on in Victoria, then Australia, and then globally. So then we kind of triage what's going on based on that.
That's great. Okay. No more questions?
Projects. I'm curious with this whole scheduling thing. Obviously, people have projects, programs that are either coming online or they have peaks and troughs in activity that at some level management in the organisation must be across. How involved as marketers are you in that process of understanding what that ebb and flow is for managing content and scheduling? Zoe was talking about Burberry having stuff locked in months ago. That's quite possibly because they know a whole new range of things are coming on. I've got a cousin who works in agricultural science. the company he works for are now releasing products that he's tested 18 months ago. So what they're releasing are actually out of date with what he's working on. So all organisations have that ebb and flow of stuff that's going on, and I guess I'm curious how many people sit in the decision-making process to understand what's coming on in 6 months' time, or where program X is going to be in 6 months' time. So you can schedule things, or at least be aware of what priorities are going to be coming at you. Are most people involved at that level, or?
I think that's a political issue.
Always a political issue, that's right. There's always hierarchies and what have you, yeah.
And look, comms and marketing has no authority in any executive, but any authority you have can stem through influence. And it's always a two-way street. Getting that content from the other areas within your organisation, I think that just comes with the territory. So it's having that channel. So actually you can create a calendar and put some strategy in place.
And I think too, comms, just educating and just the rest of staff, everyone, just the importance of why it's good to put stuff out in advance and just explaining that culture to people. And once people are on board with that, it's very easy to go and be like, okay, I need the next 6 months, what's going on, so then I can correlate that with what this person's doing and what this department's doing, and then bring that all together and have a great forward planning 6 months. This is what we're going to be doing, this is what we're going to be posting. But yeah, it definitely starts with the culture shift and people understanding why gathering that information and collaborating in that sense is really important.
I think it's organisation that, from what I've read, not-for-profits tend to be on a scale of, once they start to embark on this process, they'll be their comms will be very reactive. But as the organisation matures and everybody gets used to the idea, then the thinking or the calendar becomes more strategic in terms of projecting the brand.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of organisations, from my experience, sit in that space where they know they have to have marketing of some kind, but it's there because they know they have to have it. A lot of management teams don't fully understand the power of it, don't fully understand how to work with it and the value that it adds, and therefore they don't invite people to the table to make sure that they're involved in those processes. It's more a case of, we need this, write us an article, or
we need some media coverage, write a media release.
Do you have any links? I mean, I sit on a few different associations. Are there any links that really can spell it out really neatly? Because I'm constantly banging my head talking to, it's almost like dinosaurs around, and they look at it as Facebook or social media like it's this kind of like the other. I'm sure probably a lot of people are.
There is a trend in content marketing, which all social media is, and you guys are probably putting out blog posts and press releases and all sorts of content towards less is more, because what we've seen is everyone just putting out multiple blogs every week, just really an SEO war. It's not actually resonating with the audience. So the more pre-planning you've got, the more likely you are going to create one or two really amazing pieces of content. That may be an event, that may be a white paper, that might be something really substantial, it might be an annual survey, something that you can then turn into stats that you push out through social media. So the more pre-planning you have, the better quality your content's going to be. So I guess that may help me make a case in terms of sort of how to get your, Michael might have more on.
It's one of those things, and I'm sure everybody's seen it, is, you can bang your head against that door for so long and say exactly what everybody knows until your CEO goes to a conference and hears some great speaker that says exactly what you've been saying and then comes back and says, hey, we've got to do this. Nothing's going to change.
Right next to me,
That's a great idea.
But it happens all the time in all kinds of organisations where you can see how it needs to work, but because it's not a priority or you haven't got that that sense of being the expert that the organisation wants, you're there doing the job as opposed to being that expert. It often has to come from a third party to kind of unlock that door for you sometimes. It happens in a lot. I've seen it happen in lots of different things, not just in marketing, but
I think the fact that comms has become so fractured with social media has exacerbated that. It's actually, the emphasis has come back on a sort of any medium-sized to larger not-for-profit. It's the relationships, with people out in the field generating the social media content, so that comms and marketing can put it together in a more strategic fashion.
And I think there's a theory I've seen around, I think it's called brand democracy, which is essentially you can't control it.
No.
It's healthy not to control it.
Yes.
Just control the way it looks and feels and the tone of everything. But if people want to talk about you, they will talk about you. Just be really clear about how that should be done.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes that's the best you can do.
Can I just ask, to what extent is the data collected on the stuff that gets put out feedback into? Because if you've got a months ahead plan what your media strategy is going to be, if you put out stuff that people just aren't interested in, getting no response, do you go back and change that?
Oh, totally. Look, like I say, agility is the key, and you probably start hearing the term test and learn. You know, so a lot of organisations would say their media spend now looking put 10 to 20% of that into new platforms, new ways of doing things, seeing how it works, and then does it get folded into the bigger marketing mix. So would always, every post that goes out, looking at that individually and then as a whole, looking any piece of comms that you can get any statistics on, don't just put it out there and go, oh well, now let's put out another dozen like that. If it doesn't work, stop doing it. The metaphor that I used to have a radio show when I was in high school, does anyone know how high rotation works? Medium low rotation? That's something that can work too. Is like, you've got your things that you know work really well in column one, and then you've got the things that are kind of new and introduced, and then you've got the new crazy bit that you throw in every now and then, and you sort of can alternate between your columns. That can be a really good way to pull off your content strategy, but you've got each of those kind of categories locked and loaded with things to throw into the mix. So you might experiment once every 20% of the time with something different. See how it goes. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't resonate, stop doing it.
Majority of the social media platforms that you work on have statistics already built in, but some obviously don't. And if you go get something like Social Guide, for example, it actually gives you a little bit more in depth about people who actually remove their likes from your posts that are older, people that actually end up unfollowing you after a certain post that's been released, and that way you can tell, well, this person disliked this post so much, they actually just unfollowed us. Is this something they're not interested in seeing at all?
Yeah, so. Okay, we might wrap it up. Sorry, last one, and then I'm happy to take questions afterwards as well. So
I was going to hijack the conversation to talk about Instagram. So one thing we're looking at is creating Instagram, but we really struggle in terms of sourcing our own original images and content, and a lot of the stuff that's available on stock photos just really do not fit within our brand and within our ideals. What advice would you give there? Like, we can create everything we ever want on Canva, but nobody's going to follow an Instagram account that's just full of graphic design pieces.
I'd have to get a bit more back into what is your brand and objectives. So if you want to quickly share those.
So we're the Cerebral Palsy Support Network. We're about empowering individuals with CP. We empower and support their families and networks, and that could be anybody from their support workers, schools, employers. And it's all about creating a community as well. We actually started as a mothers group 20 years ago, 20 years this year. And it was basically a group of mums who needed to come together and source materials and go, yep, that doctor's good, that one's crap, go somewhere else, because this is pre-internet days. So that still forms the foundation of who we are.
I think maybe if you're coming from a mindset of we are a publisher and we need to commission, source, find this material, can you not look to your community and use them to sort of crowdsource that content? You know, and ask them what do you want to see? What would you like about if we put it out in Instagram? See what they share. Like pick some of the more active social media people within your community and see what they're putting up, and maybe get ideas from them, or maybe just ask if you can repost other people's things. So
you can also look up the tags. Like, for example, a lot of people who have cerebral palsy and actually post about the condition actually use tags like hashtag cerebral palsy, and if you actually contact them, as you said, most of them will let you use their photos for charitable uses. Like, they're not going to have a problem with it as long as you contact them.
Yeah, so maybe just like crowdsource it basically. Yeah, or run a competition of some sort that allows people to upload their photos, and part of the conditions of that is that you put it back out. Yeah.
I've had idea for something else coming up the next few months too, so we might be able to piggyback off some of that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'll let Michael wrap up, but anyone does want the slides, please just get in touch, and I will ship them through to you. And yeah, of course. Yeah, do you want to give me a business card, or do you want mine, or?
Thanks everybody. I hope that was informative. Okay, please grab something to eat. We're going to hang around and chat.